NFTs and gaming. I'll let you go ahead and take it away, John.
Okay, hi guys. I am Johnny Dollar, and I've been in the crypto art scene for several years. And these are some of the paintings I did. I can talk about them. I'll probably do that a little later. Since we are going to be talking about NFTs, I can just move forward. Like I said, these are some of the paintings. They're all mostly crypto inspired. This one here behind me has a hardware wallet embedded within the painting, which actually holds an NFT of the painting, which is a non fungible token. I see someone has their hand raised. I'll take questions in a little bit. But yeah, let me just move forward and then we can move back. Let me explain what NFTs are. So that's another painting, talks about chaos and consensus. This is a painting which has wallets and NFTs within it. All those QR codes are scannable and they lead to a different place online. And one of them is a public key, which is like an address which holds cryptocurrency in a cryptocurrency NFT. And you guys might recognize this. This is a crypto kitty. This is what made NFTs famous or big time. This is what got me into NFTs. I went to a summit called the Ethereal Summit a few years ago, and someone auctioned off this digital cat. This image. I went to a summit called the Ethereal. $140,000. Yes, $140,000. I actually lost a bet during that auction. I was live and couldn't believe it. But yes, I was shocked, but then I got it. And there's actually some Wall Street guys there, and they got it too. If they could make a digital cat that exists, online, have scarcity, then they could make a digital asset, any digital asset, scarce. Mortgage, security. So it was really eye-opening. So what are NFTs? They are non-fungible tokens, and that's just a fancy way of saying they're one-of-a-kind digital assets. I'll really go quickly through the technical rules. The first NFTs were Counterparty, this blockchain protocol. And then there were the ERC-720 ones, which were Ethereum. So I wanted to check them both out when I got started. And Counterparty was secured by Bitcoin. They're real easy to create. They let you do sub-assets and send distributions to asset holders. It was really cool. But Ethereum was around and it was secured by Ethereum. It required technical skills, but it had standards that helped it work. These schemas, which are kind of like a format, so a lot of people use it, and it worked with lots of different marketplaces by design. So I made my own token. That should be a video plan. Not sure why it isn't, but yeah, that was a Johnny Dollar token. It was an NFT on Counterparty, which I allowed me to send distributions of digital art to my collectors. That was it, the Johnny Dollar art token. And these were some of the art tokens I made with it. This was for a game, like a card game. This was another one for the card game. And this was one more. Oh, okay. This is a GIF, actually, an animated GIF, but it's not playing. And this was a marketplace for NFTs. It's called OpenSea. It's like eBay for these tokens. And these tokens, you can make them and sell them here. A lot of artists are making tokens and selling them here, as well as people are making tickets. This is a token I made, which I could sell on there. And really zip through. NFTs are possible on many chains. And what can you use them for? You can use them for art tokens. You can use them for real estate. You can use them for gaming. You can use them for DeFi, the decentralized finance. etc. Sky's the limit. Lots of things. And later on, we're going to be playing a game, Splinterlands, which uses these tokens. That's my website. So yeah, that's it, guys. I'll take some questions now if anyone has any. Oh, does anyone have a question? All right. Hi. Well, hey there, Blockchain Universe.
Hey, what's going on? Good job, Johnny. That was an awesome presentation. So I have a couple
Yeah,
of
it was
questions.
quick. All right.
I'm curious
I
as to where do you see the potential of NFTs and specifically NFTs in gaming?
Oh man, really huge. There's companies working on it, and when I mean gaming here, I was thinking more of like gambling gaming. But if you're talking about like in gaming as far as playing video games, people are using them as assets like skins, hats, weapons, swords, different in-game items you can now own and they not be centralized, as well as maybe in-game money transfer between games. All kinds of possibilities. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I mean, those are ways that we're utilizing them now, and I think it's important that people understand the difference between today's current gaming platforms and what he just talked about, and how you can use NFTs in these ways to be able to trade or use those objects in games. So, like you said, using platforms like OpenSea, that open place market, I can be able to buy in-game objects from other games. Uh, Likewise, you can be able to take those games and trade them with your friends without needing a third party like OpenSea. So, for example, I like to really relate it to Fortnite. A lot of people are spending money on V-Bucks and utilizing money, real world money, to buy skins and objects for Fortnite. And then what happens if Fortnite shuts down, which definitely will happen one day? All of the money that people spent on V-Bucks and all those skins, all those objects, it's gonna just disappear when the game disappears. And it's not like this hasn't
Or
happened in the past. Go
correct.
ahead.
Or someone could get banned. You know, they might upset someone. Um, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It really, what it kind of more alludes to is not just games. These NFTs allow markets to enter places they couldn't enter before. You can create a market out of anything, a decentralized market. These NFTs, like I said, sky's the limit. They could be like in-game items. They could be your sports team, like baseball cards. They'll be an NFT. They could be the ticket to the NFT. They could be the gold we use maybe across multiple games. Like I think it'd be great if like Fortnite money was also like, I mean, I don't know, a World of Warcraft money, like this gold, could like transfer in and out of different games.
It would be fascinating, and I think that blockchain and the different platforms that are out there, like Engine, are really paving the way to the next generation of blockchain games. I think that we're moving in different cycles, similar to like the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, now 4, and going on to the 5. We're starting to see different generations of blockchain gaming. You brought up CryptoKitties. That I would see as like Gen 2. The first generation of blockchain gaming was this one game. I think it was called Hashcraft, or I forget the name of the first blockchain game, but you can really tell like the way that it was designed and built was just it was amazing at the time, which was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was just a way for people to be able to really incorporate blockchain in gaming by allowing you to find Bitcoin and allowing your computer to basically be a part of the mining algorithm that made the Bitcoin that would spawn inside the games. But nowadays, your computer is probably too weak to be able to generate those Bitcoins. They have big server farms and machines to be able to do all that. So that's where all of the processing for the game can run. And then on the game, the blockchain is just utilized for keeping records. One of the things that I'm really excited about with Engine's 1155 ERC token is the fact that you'd be able to keep track of what happens with your items. So one of the things that got my attention, somebody was telling me, was like, you can be able to shoot somebody with a gun in a game, and it would be able to keep a record of all of the kills that you had with that gun, even in other games. So I think that's really fascinating, as I can go look at my stats on Call of Duty Warzone and see how many kills I got with one specific gun. But if I take that gun out and bring it to, let's say, Apex Legends, there's no way for me to see the total amount of kills that I would have with that in today's system. But with blockchain gaming, I can be able to keep track of it across multiple different platforms.
True. And that's interesting. And I could also see the need to maybe want privacy in those tokens as well. And I would say it's interesting because, we can differentiate with gaming, but, this is, like I said, allowing markets to enter all kinds of places. Games and DeFi and, they're gamifying. That's like a new term. Well, I guess it's an old term, but it's since the 50s, but they're really using it in all kinds of things. And they're like gamifying, hedge funds are using quants, like people to like look at data patterns, and they're making a game out of it where they have tournaments and they compete and make money, as well as they, work on the stock market. Like I said, this gaming, like I feel it's all blending when you're saying version 1, version 2. Like we're kind of like the guinea pigs of this, like the art, the gaming, which is like just really part of DeFi. If you understand what I'm saying, like OpenSea is decentralized finance. It's just a decentralized marketplace with, you buy and sell and speculate and trade. Maybe that's one of the many interesting things about it. Cool. Yeah, I see some hands. I'm not sure if they're questions or. Oh, go ahead.
Should be let me make the button to ask questions. So if anybody has any questions, you guys will see the ask questions button, and you can just click on the button to raise your hand, and we'll see who has a question. So you should see that button down below. Go ahead and raise your hand if you have one. But until somebody raises their hand, I wanted to continue on. I remember you stating that you really found out about NFTs and got involved in this space once you went to Ethereum Summit. What was that like? Tell us what it's like going to a conference, especially at Ethereum Summit.
Well, I went to the first Ethereum Summit. That's where I saw this. It was a lot smaller. It was cool. It was in Brooklyn. There was a lot of, it was just a lot smaller space. So when people, like the space as far as like the blockchain community. So it was really cool to get everyone like together, to like, because for a while you're just alone, thinking about these things, playing with these things, kind of talking to people online on Telegram, but to get to like see these projects and meet these people, it's great. It was really great. And I've kind of joked about, Ethereum before, like the Ethereum community they're nice. It's a very nice kind of welcoming community that works together. You see a lot of projects that are even competing work together. A lot of that has to do with they're all under an umbrella of consensus. But no, Ethereum, it's fun. There's a great art show. I'd recommend it. I think they're doing the virtual one now, which I would imagine would be a good time. Or I believe Bits and Tokens is getting involved, if I'm not mistaken.
We sure are going to be running the Ethereum Summit here in virtual reality. That's on May 7th and 8th. And then we'll also be hosting the virtual reality after party. So let's come on out, have some fun, and get to see what it's like. The actual summit is going to be live streamed, so they're handling that on their end. We're just going to have a watch party here in Altspace, and then afterwards we'll hang out. People from the live stream will jump in, and we'll talk, and nice little networking like you would in a real world event.
Cool. All right.
Does anybody have any questions? I don't see any hands raised.
Well, all right. I can talk about NFTs. I can talk about paintings. I can let people talk.
Well, you are an artist. I want to hear some more about your paintings and your inspiration and how you get those paintings to then become an NFT.
Okay, well, I'm not really, without getting too technical, NFTs are just some numbers, a token that are online, exist on the blockchain, and they're linked to the image, which is stored somewhere else. Uh, and that, I mean, like that token has some data in it, and it's not a lot of data. It's just a few lines of code that say, where this image is located, so the browser or the wallet can see it. It could be music, it could be sound, it could be an if-then loop, and that NFT, if a wallet that it is in once that wallet interacts with a contract, if it has a certain NFT, the if then loop in it might make it do different things. And really that's just a fancy way of saying that NFT might like give you different access. Like you get an NFT that might make you get a bobblehead character or a different item of clothing, for example, in a game. An NFT could be a beat. You could tokenize music, so when you sell it, people could pay you a few satoshi, to get different things. If you get what I'm saying, the sky's the limit. It's really the possibilities. But if there's no questions, I'll really just talk about these paintings. Would anybody like to see that? Hear that?
Absolutely, please do. I don't see any questions. So
okay, cool. I mean,
with the painting.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions at any point, yeah, let me know. This first painting, I don't know if you could see my hand pointing. It's called the Bank of Babel, and it depicts Mickey Mouse as he's broken the shackles of the copyright cartel. And he's used Bitcoin to free himself, but also to burn down this towering Bank of Babel and free us all.
Absolutely love it.
All right.
I've seen this painting.
That was like one of my.
I didn't really quite understand and grasp the depth behind it. And I absolutely love this painting. Tell us, how'd you make it?
Thank you. How did I make it? Oh, I paint. I started off as a sketch in my sketchbook, and I just painted a bunch of versions and kept painting and was painting Mickey Mouse burned down a bank, and in the smoke I started to see a face, and I just kind of kept working at it, and it turned into Abraham Lincoln.
So it's more.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of my work kind of is. Say again.
All right, more.
So let's try. It's coming. This is multitasking here. This painting is called "The Madness of Crowds." This one was inspired by trading in the 2017 bubble. What it does is I painted a place called the market. And in the market live the whales. And the whales are very rich. And when the whales splash their tails, they make the bulls start to run. And as these bulls on the right start to run, these fish, these minnows, get caught up in the stream, as you can see, and more bulls start running, and more minnows get caught up in the stream. They're swimming upwards and upwards.
Oh wait, Johnny,
it's the mythical moon.
You sound really far away. Hit the host tools. In the host tools, there's a button that says amplify my voice so we can hear you no matter where you are.
All right.
Continue, please. I want to hear more about the whales.
All right. I'm trying to find host tools. There's so much going on here. At least on my screen, that is.
Should be the third button. Amplify my voice. Looks like a speakerphone.
Oh, yeah. All right. I believe you. All right. There it is. All right. So, can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. So, like I said, this painting is called The Madness of Crowd, and it depicts the market where these rich whales drive these bulls to start charging. And as they start charging and running upwards, these minnows, these fish get caught up in a stream, trying to reach higher and higher, going for it. They're trying to reach for a mythical moon. It's up there on the top right, but they can never reach it because as they get to it, the bears come in. Bears swiping them down. But maybe there's hope, but that was just a bull trap because the bears are large and they're in charge. And they bring them down, stop loss is triggered, full capitulation as all these fish go back in the mouths of the waiting whales. And they repeat the cycle. So, like I said, it's the madness of crowds and this kind of market cycle. Kind of like for me was how I kind of represented panic and FOMO, and then fear and distress and panic and despair, and then re-hope as they do it again. And this is kind of the way markets always work throughout history. And like I said, that is the madness of crowds.
Absolutely fascinating.
All right, so this was this painting. It's called Happy Day. I think it's self-explanatory. All right, and this next one was actually probably more to do with NFTs. It's called Conan the Barbarian, and on one level, it's a homage to comic books and a character called Conan. But it's also a little more than that. It was kind of a homage to these NFT card games. There was this game and you built it with Photoshop. So I actually painted this painting on a bunch of different canvases and then cut them out and mounted them to one canvas to kind of like mimic Photoshop. So in real life, this painting, you can touch it. It's very layered. And like I said, it has this NFT, if you can see over to the right, it has a hardware wallet embedded within the painting, which holds an NFT of the painting in the painting, as well as some cryptocurrency. So to get the Bitcoin out of this painting, you have to destroy the painting. Wow. And one more thing about this painting, thanks, dude. One more thing about this painting, it was inspired by a AI conference I went to. And in the conference, people were talking about AI taking over. And it was like a panel of 4 people, really smart people. And they're on stage all talking about AI. 2 were for, 2 were against, but they were all just sure it was going to take over our world and take over society. And afterwards, I got to thinking about it, and I was like, that's just BS. That's not going to happen. And the reason I thought about it was like, it's technological hubris. It's all these technocrats, these engineers, really smart people think that, that their technological advancements will last forever. But, history shows, whether it be the Toltecs, the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Romans, the Egyptians, their great empires always get brought down by the barbarian, no matter how great technologically point. Advanced they are. Yeah. Absolutely. They always say, it's point. Different this time. We have a question. Oh, okay. I don't know how to answer. Let me see.
You have stage access now. You can come on stage so you're on camera as well, buddy.
Oh, I see.
Hey.
All right.
So Johnny, my question.
Oh. Hi.
Hey. Thanks for explaining your art, and I was wondering, like, what the main advantage of having an NFT embedded in your art, or your art, I guess in this case being an NFT. What is that to you? Like, why do you choose to make your art also an NFT, and like how would that benefit other artists as well?
Well, you can make just digital art an NFT. That'll allow you to monetize digital art. So that's was a game changer for a lot of artists, and galleries, if we even need them in the future, they kind of shied away from digital art because they couldn't monetize it. And now that we can monetize digital art with NFTs, that's one thing. But the other thing, like this one, where I just added the hardware wallet into the painting, was more an experiment. But really, it was also a way to, you can hide millions in an art. Like I gave a talk and I was like, how to hide millions in art, using, creative ways to hide private keys. Like this painting, like I said, it has money within it. It can also have NFTs, which could hold not only a token, which is and the benefit of the token. I guess to more answer your question, provenance is like a big thing in art, in traditional art. Like to know something's not forgery, they want like a certificate of authenticity that proved who owned it before. It's like a line like Jerome had mentioned earlier about like the gaming gun, like to see how many kills it had in the past. Provenance showed who owned a painting before someone else owned it. And like traditional art, they want to see that. And now you can do it with the NFT. People have been interested in that. I don't personally find it as interesting, but I'll tell you what, the galleries I work with had no interest in crypto for years until I mentioned the NFTs for provenance, and then their eyes opened up. They're like, oh, I can use that to sell. Does that answer your question? I can't hear. Did that help? Does that answer your question, or any other questions? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to.
Okay.
What I was looking for. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. Happy to help.
Great job, Johnny.
And you get all right. Looks like there's another question. No, not sure. Audience raise hands.
There was one. It looks like it disappeared. I guess they withdrew their question or left. If anybody else has any questions, ask now. Approaching 9 o'clock, and we're gonna play some video games after this.
All right.
Any
I'll
closing
go on to another
statements
painting.
you want to leave for everybody?
Well, we go through one more painting, and let's see. I'm going to talk about this painting. Anyone in here like Bitcoin? You can just kind of move a hand if you even heard of it, care. All right, well, this painting was one of my newer ones. It's called Consensus and Chaos, and Yin and Yang. And really what it is, it talks a lot. I'm into Bitcoin. I've been into it for a while. But Bitcoin has a Merkle tree, and that's like this logical form where every coin is tied to the one before it. Every block is tied to the one before it, and that really brings truth and integrity to prove it's all correct. But it wouldn't work without the selfishness of the miners, their chaotic nodes, and their self-interest. By working in their own self-interest, they actually strengthen the community and bring the truth. So it was like, to me, kind of the dichotomy of the two. And this final painting, I had mentioned it before, it's called Show Me Your Cookies. It's about privacy. Like I said, it depicts the cookie monster, and he's consuming data. And he just compulsively consumes data and can't stop, just nom, 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 more data. As this woman walks naked through a digital landscape, and she's unaware that she's being followed by these birds, and these birds kind of form the monster, as if you kind of look back. But like I said, all of these QR codes are scannable, and they lead to a different place online, and one of them is a public key, which is like an Ethereum wallet, and it holds an NFT of the painting in the painting. Yeah, and I believe that is it. Final thoughts are, there's a lot to do with NFTs. I think, like I said, there's a real future in this. There's a real opportunity for artists to not only, for the provenance, but as well as a way to monetize digital art. And yeah, let me just get to. Yeah, I don't know how to close this out, Jerome. There it is.
Forward. You want to go the opposite way? Yep.
I'll just end on that one. Anyway, thanks,
That
guys.
works.
That's it. I'm Johnny Dollar. I hope you enjoyed it. It's the first time I present in VR, and I hope it's been helpful.
How can they find
All
you?
right, thanks, guys. You guys can find me on. I have a website, johnnydollar.biz. I'm also johnnydollar.biz on Instagram, and I'm Johnny Dollar Art on Twitter. And that's
Guys,
it. All
give a
right,
round
thanks,
of
guys.
emojis for my guy Johnny Dollar. And then also say hello to Maria from the Blockchain Center who's going to share with you guys some announcements.
Hi, everyone.
Maria, turn on your microphone. We can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. So, who here likes Star Wars? Raise your hand or send an emoji if you like Star Wars. Like, okay, and also just out of curiosity, does anybody here know or have ever dabbled in game development? Jerome, loud and clear. Great. So, for those of you that have in the past been interested in learning how you can create a game, I wanted to tell you about an opportunity that is being organized by the Miami Science Fiction Film Festival. And basically what it is, it's a competition that it's a relaxed, friendly event where the participants can work either as a team or a solo to make a playable game. If you have never done game development, you don't need to worry. There will be the opportunity to be paired up with mentors that know how to use Adobe, Unity 3D, or Unreal Engine tools. Basically what it is, it's a competition, like I said, and you have 10 days to produce a game, either solo or as a team. And all entries are going to be evaluated. You have the opportunity to debug if needed, but it's an opportunity for you to learn if you have ever dabbled. Just like Johnny mentioned, there's so many ways now that creators can benefit from this space, and this is another opportunity for you to learn from the top gamers. I encourage you to try it out. I will be sending you all a link, and you can get more details on that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Maria. All right, guys. This has been just the beginning of today's event. We're going to play some more games. I just want to let more people know this is Blockchain Universe. You can find us on Altspace. We do a bunch of different events all week long. Mondays, Bits and Tokens presents virtual reality Crypto Mondays. Tuesdays, we do a future podcast. Wednesdays, we host game days where you can come in here and watch us play games. On Thursdays, we have Drunk Crypto, where we drink and have fun and talk about cryptocurrency and the news. Fridays, today be our game night. We're all going to play some games together. Saturdays, we have a nice little chill session where we talk about cryptocurrency and just a little meet and greet at 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. I hope to see you guys again next week and tomorrow and every day that we do events. Again, thanks for watching this live stream. Hope to see you at our next virtual reality event.